I was a stand-up comedian for years before Twitter showed up, so I just tried to translate some of what I do on stage into jokes online. And yeah, I just enjoy the pressure of having to think up funny things, all day.
All day, every day. That is relentless, though, the idea that you've just got to keep that turned on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not well mentally, so I think that might make it easier, but my brain is, always thinking of jokes, and I don't really mind it.
When you say you're not well mentally, do you mean that? I mean, you've had,
Yeah,
there
a
have been
little
issues
bit.
in your life.
A little bit, in the sense that I enjoy. No one should do stand-up. That's not. It's a very high-pressure thing, but I just enjoy it. There's some psychological kink where getting on stage for me feels like getting into a hot tub for a normal person. So the same thing. Like when people say, how do you feel about the pressure? I enjoy pressure, and that's not normal.
Right, and with an audience, you can hear the laughter immediately.
Mm-hmm.
If I kind of write an intro or I ask a question during an interview, which you can tell by the reaction I'm getting in my earpiece, whether people are liking it or a bit, they're holding their breath.
Yeah.
Twitter, there's a delayed reaction, isn't there?
Slightly. Thankfully now I have so many followers that if I send a joke, people are gonna pretty quickly let me know if they like it or not.
What is your? Do you have any of your kind of proud? What are your proudest? What are your kind of?
Off the top of my head, I'm not really sure. One is a sort of a bastardization of, you'll hear people say like, I like my coffee like I like my men, black and strong. And one day a bunch of people on Twitter were saying, I like my coffee like I like, and I just messed up the joke format and I said, I like my coffee like I like my women. I like black women. And that's just stupid because the joke there is just it's about a person who doesn't know how to do the joke format. And I think that's funny.
Yeah, exactly. And 1 million followers, does that kind of mean that you feel a sort of burden of responsibility of, I've got these people, I've got to keep them entertained?
I do feel responsible, not like a negative responsibility, it's more like a pleasure. I feel honored that they would entrust me with their senses of humor, so I just do the best to make them laugh. I mean, most of the people who write me back are very nice and smart and funny, so I'm happy to do it. It doesn't feel like a burden.
Right, so being the funniest man on Twitter, what does that mean? Does this mean there are endless new opportunities? Why are you in London, by the way?
Why am I in London? I'm making a sitcom pilot that I wrote with my friend Sharon Horgan, who's hilarious, and we're shooting that right now. So that's what I'm doing. Because sending tweets does not pay the bills. Live stand-up pays the bills. Writing for television pays the bills. Twitter's great for getting people to know who you are, but then you have to translate that into...
I think you're doing something with Caitlin Moran as well, aren't you, from one of the Times journalists?
Only having lunch and things like that. We're not doing nothing in a professional capacity. She's a friend of mine, but...
Right. And do you think that, with a lot of social media, we were talking about Facebook earlier on this week about its 10th birthday, and that none of them last very long.
Yeah.
Do you think that Twitter will last?
History would suggest that it will not. These things seem to have lifespans, so one should never think of being on a social network as a career plan, because they do, people get tired of them. Facebook and Twitter would seem to be poised to last longer than MySpace and Friendster, so they're learning, but they're going to have to keep it up if they want to survive.